Hey y'all, hey, have you ever bought a new car and then suddenly you start to see that new car everywhere? It's not like everybody bought the car on the same day that you bought the car, it's just now in your awareness. Hey y'all, I'm Tiffany Yvonne and I am the host of the Tiffany Yvonne Show. We are in episode 10. What we talking about? Double digits. And today y'all get the real rough, raw Coach Tiffany straight out of beach camp, but coming to you all nonetheless with this 10th episode. And it is all about vision, casting a powerful vision for your life, understanding exactly what you want and why you want it, and having the bold audacity to go after it, right? In your life, your leadership, and the legacy that you are creating for yourself. I am Coach Tiffany. I have a small boutique consulting and coaching firm called Playmaker Solutions, where I serve executives, elite athletes, and everyday mamas making it happen to design a life and career that they absolutely love. I say I help people win at work, succeed at home, and design lives they absolutely love without burnout. It's a bold claim, and oftentimes people are like, yeah, I want that, but they can't see how to make it happen. So this episode is all about the power of seeing it. I'm also the creator of the SUPERmodel Framework, and seeing it is the first step in that framework. So what does it look like to see it, and why does it even matter? Just like I talked about that car that you got, it's new and now they're popping up everywhere. It's not a coincidence. It's actually your brain's proof that we fuel what we focus on. There's a term for it. It's called, let me look at my notes, reticular activation system. I don't usually go into the neuroscience of all the things, but everything that I talk about around emotional intelligence is absolutely based in neuroscience, in psychology, and the way that our brain works to get us the things that we say we want most. So when I say see it, we have to realize that this is not woo woo and just talking about vision boards, but your vision is what makes designing a life you love viable. It's not soft, it's strategy. So whether you are chasing a championship, running sales teams who are chasing ROI and metrics in that way, or you just want to be a leader in your own life, it all starts with vision. We've heard the terms, the cliches. If you can't see it, you can't be it. We've heard it biblically, right? As a man or woman thinks, so is he or she. And there's a parable that says, without vision, the people perish. So, in order to get what you want, you have to be able to see it clearly. What's the problem there? Oftentimes, busy, ambitious leaders are more focused on what they do not want to happen than what they do want to happen, right? We want to win games, but we want to make sure nobody gets hurt. We want to make sure you don't make this mistake. We want to make sure you don't foul out, right? We want to get to the next level of business, but we want to make sure that the innovation doesn't fail. We want to make sure that the competitor does not get ahead of us. And as moms in our own lives, we want to raise amazing children, but we're more focused on making sure that they don't feel like we're not doing a good job. That's how that mom guilt pops up. We want to make sure they don't get into risky behaviors. We want to make sure that they don't fail, right? But when we focus on what we don't want, it grows. Remember, I said what you fuel, Remember, I said you fuel what you focus on. That means if you're focused on what you don't want to happen, it gets bigger too. It doesn't just work one way. When you think about that car that you started to see everywhere, it was in your awareness newly, but they had been on the road. So when you focus on what you do not want, you start to see more of that. The amazing thing, the flip side is when you focus on what you do want, you get to see more of that as well. And no, it doesn't happen by magic, but the pathways toward accomplishing what you actually want become more clear, become more vivid. That one next step becomes like, duh, instead of like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it work? Because you are focused on what you desire, right? So I'm going to walk us through two exercises that I do with leaders that I work with, whether it is elite athletes and coaches, whether it is executives or the teams that they lead. I tease and I say, I put this process on everything like Frank's hot sauce. So here we go. On the one end, you really have to imagine the life goal, end goal, or desires that you want. And you can't just think about them tactically. You have to think about how will you feel when you reach them. Because seeing it tactically will pop up a bunch of different logical cognitive responses, tasks and to-dos about how to reach a goal. And when we start to see that task list growing, we will whimper out like, never mind, I'm straight, right? I'm going to settle for safe. I'm going to stick with the devil I know. But when we think about how we will feel, what will be different in our lives, who will benefit, not just us, but others around us. When we think about shifting from, oh my gosh, I want that $1 million business this year. Oh my gosh, I want my child to make it to the NBA. Oh my gosh, I want to make it to the NBA myself, or I want my team to hit this quarter goals. And instead, we shift to when that thing happens, life will change in this way. When that thing happens, I will feel more peace, more joy, more calm, less burnout, stress, and overwhelm. We are more in tune to go and get that thing, because when we know our why, we find our way. So if we were in a room together right now, I'd have pictures spread out everywhere. And in fact, I might try to figure out how to attach some pictures. So you'll see me doing this very exercise with a mass amount of people in different settings. But we would have pictures spread out everywhere. And they're really abstract pictures. And they denote the feeling of when you reach the goal that you are seeing in your mind, but you haven't gotten there yet. That goal may be a team that works very well together that used to be toxic. That goal may be winning, the final whatever on the athletics team that you're in. That goal may be just feeling calm inside your body as a mama who is making it happen. And so you pick that picture and you put it on the right side of a triangle. And then we would flip back to how things feel today, right? And typically over here, people have pictures of like eagles flying high, rainbows, happy faces. I wish I had one sitting here, but just there's something aspirational about the picture on this side. And when you bring people back to how they feel today, even very, very accomplished people, high achieving people, teams that are currently working well together, but it's like chugging through the mud. You know that saying, get it out the mud? There's usually still that feeling or that attachment of achieving this success in a very heavy way, and that being the expectation, right? That even being rewarded. So over here, you'll see pictures like, a woman carrying 4 different things in her hand at a time and maybe something on her head. You'll see someone who's just like chugging through the mud, literally. You might also see a picture of, I know there's one where there's this man, and he has like all these question marks and post-it notes around his head. He's just looking in a state of disarray, right? And so people pick pictures for each side. And then we talk about how it feels to be on each side. And at that point, that's where the pivotal shift happens. It is where I remind them that we get to choose where we want to be. Do we want to feel this heavy but successful, weighed down way of designing a life we love, of designing our success? Or do we desire for that success to be achieved in a way that feels light and joyful and flourishing and illuminating and contagious, right? And typically people want to be on this side. So I call that like an edge or a hill or a mountain. And my work, the work that I'm so great at doing, in fact, I dare to say what I'm the best in the world is doing, is helping people get from one side of that hill or mountain, one side of that edge to the other. And that is by treading through what I call the messy middle. The messy middle is usually filled with all of these thoughts, beliefs, and mindsets that tend to keep us stuck. All the problems, all the ways that won't allow this side to become a reality. All those limiting beliefs that tend to keep us stuck on the side that we don't want to be on, that can tend to keep us stuck settling for safe. And so my work is really helping us work through that messy middle as quickly as we can to get to the other side. I say success loves speed, and I help people, high achieving people, high performing organizations, and busy, ambitious leaders collapse time so that they can get to that success in a time frame that feels good, so that they can feel that success now, and so that they don't have to choose between winning at work, succeeding at home, and designing a life they absolutely love. Oftentimes, we believe that we have to trade one for the other. That's why people will rather believe that work-life balance is a fallacy than something that is actually achievable. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not fairy tale magic. There is work to be done in the messy middle. There are boundaries that have to be set. There are decisions to let some things go that have to be made. It is not an easy journey from one side to the other, but it can be done with more ease if only we decide to see it clearly. You have to see this side in order to seize this side, right? And so in even though the S is part of the bigger supermodel framework, the S stands for see it. And you got to look at the last video to see the other letters, or continue to watch the next several videos to see how we unpack what the other letters in the acronym stand for. But even in this part, even in the see it, people might say, okay, sure, but how can I make sure that it's going to work? Well, certainty is the opposite of authenticity. You will never be sure that it's going to work. And if you wait until you're sure, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. That's why they say people get to the end of their lives and they have regrets for the things that they did not try. So in seeing it, we're not trying to see it to be certain that it will succeed before we start. We are seeing it so that we can have enough energy, enough fuel to take that journey from one side to the other. And so there's three key things that you need to breathe life into this, right? Y'all know I'm down with acronyms all the time. I feel like it makes it stick. So what's the acronym for saying it? CPR. Why? Because we got to breathe life into that thing that we want to see come to fruition. The C means clarity, right? The C means clarity. That means we have to be clear on what we want and why we want it, right? Why is this right side life so very meaningful to you? I'll tell you a quick story. I had a client. She was a very brilliant writer, right? She had written her first book, her memoir, even at a young age. And she was like, okay, I want to help other people get their stories out as well. She started doing that work, and she saw that, like, oh, people didn't really want to write their stories. They just wanted their stories to be told. And they tried to pigeonhole her into being like a book writer. She's like, nah, I'm not. I'm meant for more. I'm meant for more. Whenever you're having that I'm meant for more feeling, you know that there's something greater waiting for you, and it's waiting for you to just step into it, right? So she says, okay, no, I got to scratch that. So she picked up a job, and the job was something that she was skilled at, but not something that she was thrilled about doing it, right? So you can't just be skilled, but you need to be thrilled in order to design a life you love. And so she left it all behind, took a big jump, and decided to enroll in back in school to be a journalist. And now she is has left her home city and gone off to DC, and she's a news correspondent doing things in Washington DC because she had the clarity to see it and the willingness to take the risk that what was on this side was a better than settling for safe on the side that she currently was on. That leads me to what the P is. The P is about permission, giving yourself permission to want what you want. You get to want what you want. If you watch any of the earlier episodes, you will hear me talking about how I used to hold on so tightly to what I perceived success was. I held on so tightly to what I perceived success was that I literally made myself sick, right? I was diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2022, something that I am grateful to be healed from, not even an identity that I take on, but something that happened because I believe the body keeps score. And I was holding on so tightly to what a perfect marriage looked like, holding on so tightly to what a perfect, parenting situation looked like, holding on so tightly to a business that was banking me, right? Like rolling in the dough, but I was not happy. And it was so hard for me to give myself permission to want what I wanted because I had checked so many boxes that I felt guilty for shifting and giving up a life that people would die for in order to give myself permission to want what I want. So when you see it, when you see that next level of you is calling for you, it's not enough to just see it and say it. You have to be clear on why it's meaningful to you. You have to give yourself permission to want what you want. And then the R is you have to give yourself reminders, visible reminders, physical reminders, verbal reminders. Tell a friend to tell a friend to remind you reminders about what you say you want and why that's important to you. So I literally have, you all can't see because it's kind of blurred out, but all around my house, all around my office, all around my car, and all over my phone, there are visible reminders, quotes that are reminding me consistently that I don't only do the work to help people win at work, succeed at home, and design lives they love, but reminders that I was my own first client battling burnout because I was unwilling to acknowledge that I was seeing that I was meant for more, right? So, first step, to seize whatever goal it is you have for yourself, you have to see it clearly. You have to see not just the thing, but how it feels. You have to go deep into your why, give yourself that permission, and put reminders everywhere like Frank's hot sauce. If you pop back, and I trust you will, for the next episode, I'm going to talk about how we work through that messy middle because the you in the supermodel is all about unlearning, right? So often we think we got to pile more stuff on, but there is so much magic in letting things go so that we can make space for what we really want. I am Coach Tiffany. If you are a event planner or an industry professional, if you manage athletes or an elite team of salespeople even, and you are hosting your next event, I would love to be a keynote speaker at your event, sharing how this supermodel has changed the lives of thousands of executives, elite athletes, coaches, and mamas making it happen with your audience. Hit me up at tiffanyyvonne.com or drop a note below. So until the next episode, your cue, your prompt is, what do you see for yourself? What do you see for yourself that you're not allowing yourself to go after? Drop that in the chat. I want to help you go after that thing. And part of that is by naming it and claiming it. So drop that. I said in the chat, but I mean in the comments below. And then our song of the day. And fellas, if you hear, bear with me. I'm going to get some more gender neutral songs. Maybe not. But the song that instantly pops up in my mind is Erykah Badu's Bag Lady, because as long as we're holding on to stuff, as long as we're holding on to survival mode, our vision will always be blurry and we will not be able to tread boldly in the direction of the life, leadership, legacy that we desire. So don't be a bag lady. Don't miss your bus because you can't hurry up when you get too much stuff. Coach Tiff out. Peace, love, and most importantly, play to win. That is, I will see y'all in the next episode.